Okay, so let's start with number 7 because all the previous questions are already online, right? So let me start by giving you the answer, which is already on haiku, right? The answer is x equals. Oh no, am I working from number 7? I have to work on number 6 first, okay? So the answer for number 6 was x equals 6 and negative 3, right? So there you go. When we see rational expressions like this, we know that we don't want to have denominators, right? So what we're going to do is we notice our denominator is x, and we're going to multiply that to everything. So we're going to write x minus 18 over x equals 3. We're copying the same equation, but this time we're going to multiply everything by x. Multiply everything by x, okay? Then you'll have x squared, and then these cancel out, so negative 18, and that equals 3x. Whenever you see a square, you know that you have to factor it, right? So let's go ahead and make sure that the 3x is on the other side. So subtract 3x from both sides. Obviously, those are not like terms, so we're just going to have to list everything. X squared minus 3x minus 18. And it has to be in this order because this is standard form, okay? So once we go up to here, we're going to do the big X. And obviously, I'm going to do it on this side, okay? So you do the big X, the negative 18 goes on top, the negative 3 at the bottom. So you know that the answer is going to be negative 6 times 3, right? The leading coefficient is 1, so 1x over negative 6 and 1x over 3, right? So we have x minus 6 times x plus 3, and that equals 0. So obviously we know x equals 6 and x equals negative 3. But remember how we talked about, sometimes we cannot have both of them as an answer. So we have to check it. I'm going to erase this part because this is my scratch paper area. You already have the answer already, so you know that it will work, but always plug it in, okay? So make sure you check, right check, okay? And also if you know that this is your answer, always highlight it like this, okay? That's always good practice for any math teacher, okay? So let's plug in 6 first. So instead of x, I plug in 6 minus 18 over 6, and that equals 3. Well, let's see. 6 minus 18 divided by 6 is 3. So yeah, that equals 3, right? So what about negative 3? Now let's plug in negative 3. So negative 3 minus 18 over negative 3 equals 3. Let's see. That's negative 3 plus 6. And that does equal 3, right? So we're good. So we know that both answers are correct. Let's move on to number 7. We have to solve this. And the answer for question number 7 was x equals negative 4. So again, it's the same thing, but we have what as our denominator? X minus 8, 2, x minus 8. So we're going to go ahead and multiply all of that, okay? So first I copy the equation. And then I'm going to go ahead and multiply everything by x minus 8 and 2, okay? Multiply all of this by 2 and x minus 8. 2 and x minus 8. Very easy. So let's just cancel stuff out. The 2 and the 2 is gone. The x minus 8 is gone. Okay, so what we have left is 2 times 2x minus 5. And then over here is plus x times x minus 8. That equals 11 times 2, which is, we already know it's just 22, but I would write it down, okay? So then from here we have to distribute, okay? So that will give me 4x minus 10. And this one will give me x squared minus 8x. And this gives me 22. Now we're combining like terms. X squared is by itself. We have 4x and negative 8x. And finally, we have negative 10. Okay, so let's combine them. Oh, the 22 has to be on the other side, remember? Because we have a squared, that means we gotta do the big X. So the number by itself goes here, right? So let me highlight that in blue as well. So you know you gotta combine all of them. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to put x squared, right? The blue, green one, and then the blue is going to be negative 4x, and then the blue is going to be negative 32, and that equals 0, right? So now we have to do our big X, okay? And I already know if I do my big X, I'm going to get x minus 8 and x plus 4. Okay, so then we know that our answer is 8 and negative 4, but of course we have to check because in the end we know that we only have one answer because I gave you the answer, right? Okay, so I have to move on to the next page, okay? So now what's going to happen is I had, on my previous screen, I had x minus 8 times x plus 4 equals 0. And so I know that my answer is 8 and negative 4, but I know one of them is not it, right? So what I have to do is I have to check, okay? So let me just go ahead and write check. Always just write check and then just plug it in. So let's check 8. Let's check 8 first, okay? So what's the original equation? There you go. So I'm going to go 2 times 2x. Let me just write the equation first. And I know this is the part everybody hates, right? But instead of the x, what I'm doing is I'm going to just plug in the 8. Well, you know what? I already know that 8 minus 8 right here is a 0, and it doesn't even make sense. So we know that 8 is not going to be the answer. So my answer is only going to be negative 4, but I gotta continue to do the work for Miss Choi. Otherwise you get in trouble, right? So again, I write the equation, which is 2x minus 5 over x minus 8 plus x over 2 equals 11 over x minus 8. And instead of x, I know you can't do it, right? You have to actually write it in, but I'm just trying to show you. I'm just erasing the x, and I'm just plugging in negative 4. Negative 4, negative 4, negative 4, right? So 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Negative 8 minus 5 is negative 13 over negative 12 plus negative 2, and that equals 11 over negative 12. Well, it should be right, so let's see. Am I doing it right? 8 minus 5, yeah. Okay, so then we have to change this into fraction form, yeah? The negative 2, so let me go ahead and put negative divided by negative is positive, so 13 over 12, okay? And then plus negative 2 is the same as negative 24 over 12. You notice how negative 24 divided by 12 is negative 2? That's supposed to equal negative 11 over 12, right? So now we have the same denominator, so let's set 13 minus 24 is negative 11 over 12. Yay! I have a feeling that a lot of you are going to be confused and get the checking part wrong. But as long as you understand that the denominator cannot be 8 and therefore your answer is negative 4, I think I'm going to be okay with that. But I want to physically show you why. Okay, let's move on to number 8. This is the easy question. You notice how the base is the same. The base has to be the same in order for you to, add the two exponents. So this is the same as 7 raised to the power of, you gotta add 7 over 9 plus 11 over 9. And that is 7 raised to the power of 18 over 9, which is 7 squared, which is 49, right? So let's take a look at number 9, which is the same thing. You need to have the same base, okay? Just checking the time because I only have 15 minutes that I could record. So that would be 16 raised to the power of 3 over 4 minus 5 over 4, which gives me 16 to the power of negative 2 over 4. You can simplify that to negative 1/2. We don't like negative exponents, so that becomes 1 over 16 raised to the power of 1 over 2. And 1 over 2 means the square root. 1 over square root of 16, which gives me 1 over 4. And that's your answer. Okay? I hope you don't get confused with the 1/2 power. So quickly, I think we have enough time to do number 10. Okay, so we have a cubic root, we just have a 5, there's no cubic root on the other side, so this one was quite simple, right? So we divide both sides by 5, right? Okay, so then now we have the cubic root of 4x plus 3, and that equals 3. Okay, now when we have the cubic root by itself, we're gonna go ahead and raise both sides by the power of 3. Okay, and that's going to give me 4x plus 3 because the cube undoes the cubic root. And 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. From here, it's 8th grade stuff, right? So 4x equals 24. Now we're going to divide both sides by 4. And so x equals 6. And of course, you have to plug it in and check. All right? And I obviously don't have to do that part, but you have to. Okay, so make sure you do that. We still have question number 11, 12, and 13, but I'm out of time. So I'll go ahead and upload that for you tomorrow. Okay, thank you for watching.